What's going on, everybody? Jay Lawson, the Black Statistician here. Just doing a new video. I want to talk today about a couple of terms that are used in our community, the African American community, to basically outcast certain individuals. And I'm talking about the terms Uncle Tom and Coon. So what I'm going to do, because I want everybody to fully understand those words, which I'm sure many of you do, and you can kind of follow along and let me know what parts I miss or need to add on to in the comments. But I want to make sure everybody fully understands the terminology, because the worst thing you can do is be using words that you don't know the meaning of. And I think a lot of people do that and don't really fully understand where these terms came from or how they became what they are today. Because the two definitions that are used today from black toward black of those two words are completely different than the original definitions that were both, construed by white people. So first, we'll start with the Uncle Tom, right? All right. So to understand that one, let's go all the way back to when it was used. Uncle Tom's Cabin was published in 1854 by Harriet Beecher Stowe. And basically, in her book, the character Uncle Tom, who was a bigger African-American male, he pretty much ends up getting killed after a series of trying to help. He was pretty much kind of like the lead slave, and not really lead slave, but more of like the, I would say more of like the link between the whites and blacks. He ends up getting killed because he hid, or he wouldn't tell the whereabouts of two slaves. So he was beaten to death in the book. So basically, in today's terms, he was killed for not snitching on black people. Right. And during the story, he was not very forthcoming with the white people either. Like he had kind of an attitude about him where, he was definitely not considered as like an ally type character, at least in my opinion, from when I read it. And I haven't read it since college, but when I read it, that was because I did it for a report. That was one of the things I remember about it. But anyway, what happened is, moving forward, that story ended up being made into a movie. And in the movie, he was portrayed as a character who would kind of like side with the white guys, tell them the whereabouts of the slaves, basically tried to get into the good graces of white people, at the expense of black people. Right. So a completely different definition than the book. Like if you read the book and then you watch that movie that came out, you'll see that there's a difference in that particular character. And the funny thing is, well, it's actually not funny. It's already known, because in our community, we read the least out of pretty much everybody. So what happens is nobody gets that old definition. Everybody sees the movie, or either they don't see the movie, but they'll just say the word. You know what I'm saying? Just like if whatever word you're using, should at least know the history of those words, because as a people, we are intelligent people. We are fully capable of understanding these concepts and learning things on our own. You don't need to be spoon-fed information and regurgitate incorrect information. So I'd recommend everybody at least read a summary of the book if you're using that word, so you don't use it incorrectly. But anyway, before I talk about the newer definition, which is basically the current day definition, is pretty much the same as the definition of coon. But if you want to know where the word coon came from, in the 20s, and well, actually, I would say like the late 1800s through the first couple decades in the 20th century, up till about 1930, black caricatures were portrayed in a lot of art design and things like flyers and crap. And what would happen is all the time, the black characters would have extremely big lips or real dark skin and these bright red lips with the white chalk around them. So they would look like caricatures, and those, it was basically like saying they're the epitome of what a black person is. Like they exaggerated the features of the black person. And these advertisements were made in like entertainment purposes. Like, hey, this guy's going to come and shuck and jive and dance around for you for your entertainment. You know what I mean? He's going to be cooning for your entertainment. So a black guy that'll Sambo or whoever would come out with the cane and dance around for the rest of the white people, make them laugh while they're drinking or whatever. And then they'd go about their business. But that was pretty much a coon, somebody who would entertain or ingratiate themselves to the white people, right? And fast forward today, your terms coon and Uncle Tom are pretty much interchangeable. Most of the time you see now that people say the word coon when they're talking about these guys on the news that get that stigma attached to them. Like I saw they hit Bill Cosby with it, Charles Barkley, Raven Simone. Who else got hit with that? I don't know. Some other people. Usually I don't pay much attention to it because it's pretty stupid, but the reason why these newer people, the current day people, get called that is because they are in the perception of the portion of the population that would use that term, which is somewhere around, less than 50%, but because it's so prominent on the internet, it seems like it's more, but it's not more than half of people. Most people are not, in that childish area where they, do that. But you will find some people that are kind of upper middle class and some entertainers and some people in, higher positions that will call somebody a coon. So it seems like a lot of people use it. But the reason why people are using it today is because they see like a black person come out and say something negative about black people to somebody that's not black. And that in itself causes some people to call them a coon or an Uncle Tom, because they'll say that they're trying to make themselves look better at the expense of black people, or they'll say like they're putting down black people, but not including themselves in the group that they're putting down, even though they're black, or they're doing it at the expense of others, that type of thing. And that's the new definition of it. So neither one of the terms is used like it was in the past, because if you were going to use the word coon, attach coon to somebody currently, and base it off of something from the past, you would attach it to like rappers, because they're the ones that are they take the place of the shucking and jivers from the 20s that are here for the entertainment of others. So it would be like the rappers. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, that's pretty much the gist of where it came from. Now, I want to talk to you about what my opinion is of using the word, right? I believe in free speech. So I believe if you're going to call somebody that, it's more power to you. It's just that You know, if you want to sound like you're intelligent to the masses or anything, or something that's going to be productive to you outside of an ethnic area, you're probably going to want to stay away from that. But let's look at, for example, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley said, and Charles Barkley is one of the type of people that kind of like speaks his mind. And he's the type, he'll say, you don't have to wonder what his opinion is. You know, he's going to give it to you regardless, which that's actually a good quality for people to have. You know, there's no filter. But he personally believes that black people hold each other back from success and don't want, you know, and you have to kind of distance yourself from some black people in order to get ahead. And what did he say? The only, you know, when you're trying to do something good, black people will tell you, will tell you that it's not good or something like that, he said. But, and I mean, you can find the video online of why but he says, like, he's done several videos where he talks about that. In my personal opinion, you can't generalize all people as anything. You know, you can't say black people will hold you back or black people don't support each other. You can't really use comments like that. But you can say, like, from my experience, which I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, from his experience, he's had some black people that were like, you know, holding him back because he was trying to do something and wasn't able to do it or whatever. And he's trying to articulate that to white people, which is the wrong forum to do it in. But, you know, if you're trying to make change, you should articulate that to black people. You know, if you're trying to be distancing yourself from black people or do it for like entertainment value, that's when you do it like how he did it. You know, so it's not really the right way to do it, because you can make a point that says, hey, you know, if your buddies get out of college, support them. You know, say, hey, great job, man. Great job graduating college. You know, Chris Rock said an interesting thing. He said that it seems like in our community, we get more congratulations coming out of jail than college, which is crazy if you think about it. But it's actually, in some cases, it is true, you know, because you'll tell somebody, hey, man, you know, I just got my AA degree and I'm about to go for my bachelor's, you know, and they just be like, oh, what you think you're better than me? You know, or something, or get defensive or something like that, you know, and it's not even about that. But that's just because of our own insecurities, you know, because like I said in another video, the one with the statistics of marriage, I mean, not statistics of marriage, statistics of why black women make more than black men. It's because they go to college 65% of the time, whereas of all the black people, 65% of college graduates are women, you know, so black men are only 35%. That translates to earnings and everything. So, you know, so I can understand why there's a little bit of resentment, because a lot of people that have issues taking accountability of their own shit, they'll project outwards, you know. And if you're the type of person, you can't be like, oh, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses. This is where I need to improve. You definitely can't be told, hey, man, you need to stop being a crab in the bucket and pulling everybody down and try to get some success on your own. You can't be told that, you know. You wouldn't even be able to comprehend concepts like that, because your mind's already shut down for anything to do with changing, anything other than, hey, this is how I'm going to help you, or hey, I'm going to give you money to do this. You know, you're incapable at that point of seeing a back end benefit, which is me telling you, hey, put the hard work in now. And guess what? In 4 years, you'll be at this point. You're not going to be able to see that if you're clouded by, you know, whatever other issues that you have, like inability to take accountability of your actions, closed-mindedness, things like that. So all those things individually you would have to fix. Like how I always say the solution is, when you get the guys that are younger, mentor them, like I do with my soldiers in the military. You know, if I see that behavior, I'll break them of it. You know, if I say, hey, Tell me what you're good at. They're going to list about 20 different things, singing, basketball, I write good, I do this, I blah, blah, blah. And be like, all right, now tell me 10 things you suck at. And then you'll notice that list will be harder for them to write. But one thing about people that are successful is they know what they're good at and they know what they're bad at. And like one of my favorite quotes from Michael Jordan, it's basically, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but he says he's successful because he's failed so many times. He's failed over and over and over and over again. That's why he's successful, because he always keeps coming back. And success is just a numbers game. They say 90% of businesses fail. You know what that means? 10% succeed. So guess what? If 10 people in our community start a business today and work on it all year, by the end of the year, somebody could hire the other 9. But anyway, that's my rant for today. Remember, if you aim at legendary, you will land in success. I'm out.